Yes, now family Ammo, welcome back to another video on Jazza TV. Today we're going to talk about the Eastern European boxers and how they dominate the professional ranks. And now I believe it, and I believe that they dominate for a reason. As the amateur setup, when it was 4 2-minute rounds, maybe 15 years ago, the rules, maybe like 12 years ago or something, the rules changed. I don't know. About 15 years ago, it used to be 4 2-minute rounds with 1 minute break, and now then they changed it to 3 3-minute rounds with 1 minute break. But the style of boxing changed a little bit. The Cubans and the Eastern Europeans, they dominated in the amateur ranks. If you're gonna what country was gonna win the most gold medals in the Olympics, you bet on, in the boxing anyway, you bet on the Eastern Europeans and the Cubans to win most of the medals, because the style was just suited to 4 2-minute rounds, high pace, high work, a lot of phases. It's just lovely boxing anyway. So at this time, I was just turning professional. I was making the transition at this time, and I was speaking about my old coach Kevin Smith about this the other day. And what happened is they slightly changed the style. They had to slow it a little bit, and then what happened is the WSB came in, which was like semi-professional boxing really. It was 5 3-minute rounds, and you'd assume it suited the Americans and the Brits a little bit more, but they just kept the same work rate going, and maybe they altered little things a little bit more. They didn't have their guards on, they had the gloves on. So then they started turning professional. These are communist countries, so they didn't used to turn professional. The Cubans didn't used to turn pro, and the Eastern Europeans, the USSR, they didn't used to turn professional. And then when they did start turning professional, which was about 15 years ago, I remember watching Alexander Usyk on I think it was the Olympics. Could have been a Commonwealth game, no, not a Commonwealth game, was it? Maybe the European Champion. Maybe, I think it was the Olympics, and I remember watching him and thinking, fucking hell, if he ever turned professional, he'd just win a world title, that fella. He's brilliant. It's a shame that the Eastern Europeans don't turn professional, but at that time, a few of the Cubans was now starting to defect from Cuba and turn professional. And you remember he had Mario Kindelan around this time, just a few years before actually. He wouldn't turn professional. Do you remember? He had the rematch with Khan. Khan fought him in the Olympic final, and then he ends up coming to a professional show in England, but as an amateur. I don't even know if that was allowed, a pro-am show. But anyway, he come and box Khan, didn't he? And he wouldn't turn professional. Could have made a lot of money if he did do that. But then the Cuban started turning professional, and then not long after, you see the Eastern Europeans started turning professional, Usyk being one of them. Ukraine, I don't know many Ukrainian fighters before Usyk and Lomachenko. Then they turned professional. Then all the Cubans, the likes of Gamboa, Rigondo, Lara, they all turned professional, didn't they? And good fighters all went on to win world titles. But what I believe is, it's the amateur setup. Whoever dominates in the amateur setup, they're the world champions in the next 10 years. So, like you see it now with the Chinese, they are starting to dominate in the professional ranks, but they only like 10 years ago, they started coming through and getting a good boxing system, a good amateur team. And same with Great Britain only maybe 15, maybe was it 3 cycles ago, and now they've got loads of world champions. So what you see is, this is my opinion anyway, just from observing. what am I on about, lad? Just chatting shit, aren't I? But yeah, so it's like 3 cycles ago, whoever's dominating now, is going to dominate the professional ranks in 3 cycles. That's how I that's my observation anyway. And you see the Americans from the last 3 cycles, they haven't been dominating in the amateur system. Maybe stylistically, I don't know, but still, even in the professional ranks, America's a massive country, isn't it? If you put all the boxing clubs, all the boxing, the world of boxing, the promoters, the outlets, the managerial side of it, a lot of it's going to be based in America, so the opportunity is going to be there. But you see the fighters there, now that they're not dominating like they once was in times gone by. And you see that even the Mexican Mexicans even got a good team, and a lot of Mexicans now, 3 cycles later, are doing well. So but then it goes back to another previous video that I have done, is about how the number 2s always do well, because not often is it the Olympic champion who goes on to do the best. It's that number 2's behind him goes professional with real determination and guts to say, and a chip on the shoulder to prove a point. So yeah, that's my observation on professional boxing, on why it's dominated by certain countries. I all think it goes back to amateur style of boxing, and the countries that dominate in the amateur system. And who gets the credit for it? The credit who gets the people who get obviously the fighter gets the credit because he's the fighter. so we should, yeah, of course I get that. But behind every fighter, there's a coach, and a lot of the time there's an amateur coach who doesn't get no credit for these people, you know. Like I say there, Kevin Smith, he was my amateur coach. I didn't know how to box. I could fight naturally, but couldn't box before Kevin Smith. I didn't even know what boxing was. I didn't even know how to use my IQ. I had it there to unlock, and he unlocked it in me, and he showed me how. But not every coach knows how to do it, especially in England, because a lot of English coaches, they don't teach balance and footwork and fundamentals properly. That's my opinion anyway. I'm not giving no one down the banks there. I'm down the banks there, hey you, that's my lad. So I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that they're not taught it, so they can't teach it. But there's some coaches that also do, you know. There's many of them here in England now, and a lot of them will never get the recognition. Never get the recognition. There was a club in Birtley in the northeast. That was one of the clubs that I used to always be impressed with, Birtley, because they could teach great fundamentals, and they went on to create some brilliant fighters, even fighters who are professional now. From great fundamentals, likes of Kevin Smith in Liverpool, the Golden Gloves. He was a great coach. Him and Joe Harper produced some good fighters who've gone on to be good professionals. Who else is there? Who else? There's loads of clubs. There was I think his name was Frank. I'm sure his name was Frank. He's from Birmingham, and he used to teach. He taught the Yafai brothers. He must have been a brilliant coach as well, but I used to see him, used to think, what's he doing right there? Because them lads in his gym, they're all well schooled and stuff like that. This is Jimmy here and speak where I am now. John Rice's kids, you know, when you're fighting one of John Rice's kids, they're always good, they're always well schooled. He's got method behind his teaching, and all the kids, he doesn't put them in, he doesn't throw them in. He's a fantastic coach. I think if my kids wants to box, John Rice would be perfect, you know, the kids going in there in a good place if he's the coach. So some coaches can be like that, but they never get the credit. I could go on and on and on and on here about how many people he is, because amateur boxing, it's just littered with these people who do it for nothing, and that's the difference between amateur and professional boxing. There's coaches do it for certain reasons, you know, and a lot of professional coaches shouldn't be in the sport, in my opinion. And there's a lot of amateur fighters who shouldn't be in professional boxing. That's also my opinion. But there's a lot of professional people who will not entertain anything to do with amateur boxing, because there's no benefits there for them. There's no gains. It's all about good people who are given to kids, and they do it as a passion. They don't make money out of it. They give money to do it. But that's my opinion on. Anyway, fucking hell, where am I going with this? That's my opinion on amateur boxing, on why it dominates and who deserves the credit for these current world champions. And I believe it's just the amateur system which brings them this far. And obviously everyone plays a part. No man's an island, as they say. So yeah, that's my opinion. You have a lovely day, Formula Mo. Don't know where that was going, but please like, subscribe, and leave a comment.